Could someone start my timer? God knows I'll go on forever if given the chance. Okay, so one of the reasons I moved to Seattle is because I wanted a chance to kind of live in a place where no one knew me, where I was completely invisible, where I had anonymity, because that's basically the opposite of Portland, Maine. And that's partially why I went there. That was my goal, is to be able to try new things without anyone expecting anything of me. Another one of my endeavors in the past year, me and my friend Jane, who I actually met in Maine and who now lives in Seattle, we're on a journey to be more comfortable naked. And this journey has led us to a women's sauna. And also sometimes we just text each other when we're walking around our houses nude, practicing. And it also led us to the Fremont Solstice Parade. The Fremont Solstice Parade is in Seattle. It's in the Fremont neighborhood. Fremont used to be a hippie enclave, and now it's just like people have peace poles in their yard, and the Whole Foods is really big. But they still have the Solstice Parade every year. And the great thing about the Solstice Parade is anyone can register and just pay like $20 and sign up and march in the parade. And the worst thing about the parade is that anyone can sign up and march the parade. So there are all sorts of people. It takes all kinds to make a village. And it's really an eclectic event. And it's definitely been like commercialized and gentrified, et cetera, over time. But still just a really fun thing to do in the summer. And the thing that kicks off the Fremont Solstice Parade is the nude bike parade. And like hundreds of people paint themselves and get nudie and jump on their bikes and ride through the streets of Fremont. So in my two adventures of both being anonymous and being naked, which seem contradictory actually now that I'm saying it out loud, but at the time felt perfectly natural, my friend Jane texted me and asked if I wanted to ride in the bike parade with her. And I'm trying to do this thing where I compose text messages and I just send them without editing them, which is very new for me. So I just said yes. And she was like, "Great, we'll ride on scooters." And I was like, "Oh, great, that's super fun. Like Vespas will be great. I feel like every Italian rides on a Vespa nude anyway, so we'll just be kind of really European. And I might have to ride behind somebody, but I didn't really think far enough ahead to think about how awkward that might be when you're not wearing any clothes. So that period of time, that precious period of time passed when it's too late to cancel something and too early to say that something came up. And Jane knows me well enough to text me in that period of time to confirm. So she got me, and I couldn't wiggle my way out of it. And she's like, "Oh, that's great. Okay, I picked up the scooters." And I was like, "You picked them up? Like, did you get a trailer or something? Like, how did you get them?" And she texted me a photo, and it's of her holding two Razor scooters in her hand. And for those of you who did not grow up with like Bop-Its and Tamagotchi, a Razor scooter is a foldable metal death trap. That's just like a plank of metal and two skateboard wheels, and the handlebars, and I now know, come up to here. And I was like trying to play it cool. I was like, "That's so fun. That's great. That's so cool." So I was like, "Okay, Jane, like awesome." And I was like, I'm not a small chested woman, and I was just picturing me like just razor scootering down the streets of Seattle and just like it's like wiggling like a lot. And to confirm, Jane texted me the night before. It just said, "Test ride, not comfortable." I was like, "All right, let's do it." So her sister drops us off at the marina. So everyone goes to the marina in Fremont and gets their body painted or paints their own bodies. And as soon as you walk in and you have clothes on, like you look like a pervert, like you are like the most visible person in the area. So you have to immediately take your clothes off, and then you paint yourself. And the only economical way to cover yourself in body paint is using Speedball screen printing ink. So we're like rolling each other with gold and silver paint. So I'm in all gold and Janie's in all silver. And there's like, people are wearing like pom-poms in really interesting places. And like, you know, there's just like, everything's glued everywhere. And it's actually quite exciting because it's like Halloween, but you have like you can't wear anything. So it all has to be painted on your body. So we line up with everyone. So they put on the loudspeakers. And then they're like, okay, we're going to ride down to the parade. And I turned to Dana and I'm like, what do you mean ride down to the parade? And she's like, oh yeah, it's like 1.5 miles to the parade start. And I was like, oh, what? And so we start scooting and within about 30 seconds, I can't feel my calves. My feet have like totally cramped up. I am like sweating. I'm wearing a backpack. I'm like, you guys, I'm 5'10" and a half. And the scooter's like down here. So I'm just like, and my approach is like, the faster I go, the sooner this will be over. And meanwhile, Jane is behind me, and Jane's approach is like, the slower I go, the more fun it will be. I don't know. We didn't have the same take. So I'm like speeding along. Seattle doesn't have we don't have income tax in Washington, so our roads suck. That's my political statement for the evening. And so we're scooting down the road. It's super bumpy. Sometimes we're riding on the sidewalk. Like over time, the parade spreads out. And so, you know, you're occasionally the only person that a bystander can see that's naked, like within eyeshot. And like most people in Fremont know that it's Solstice Parade Day, but like some people don't know, especially if you're like in the window of Best Buy and you like just want to get a cell phone cover, and then there's like a woman painted in gold just like, come on. So we're going. I look behind me. Jane is like carrying her razor scooter, like hucking it down the sidewalk like any hot person, but like naked and covered in body paint. And I'm like the same, like sweating, just it's a stressful time. And every once in a while, someone will come up to me, will like bike past me like breezily and be like, oh, a scooter, huh? It's like, yeah, fuck you. We thought it'd be really cool. I was like, I thought this would be a Vespa, okay? And so we get to the parade, and like you sometimes like make eye contact with old people in restaurants. That was my favorite part. And then you'd quickly look away and keep going. And so I'm speeding by, and I'm like, you know, in the slight breeze that's created from the minimal speed of my razor scooter, I'm thinking like, oh, this is so great. Like I would never do this at home. I've never, you know, this is just like kind of out of character for me. This is so great because no one knows who I am. And like as soon as I get up to the parade, I hear like, oh, sorry, like that loud. And I was like, shit. And I look around, there's like a colleague, I can see another fellow student down the road. I like keep biking, and like I see like 5 or 6 people I know. Like the only 5 or 6 people I know in Seattle are at the parade. So we go through the parade, which is like honestly the least exciting part, and there's like girls like doing like acrobats on top of their bike, and meanwhile Janie and I are just like sweating and just like, please God, let this be over. So we're getting through the parade, and people are taking like Instagrams of you and videos, and it's like, I guess it's chill. I don't know. I haven't really thought about the impact that might have on any future political career, but, as soon as you're done with the parade, you're in the crowd of people to the side, and you're like, again, look like a pervert, but for the opposite reason. It's like, as soon as you get out of the parade, people are like shielding their like children's eyes. It's like, oh my God, get away from you. So you have to immediately put on clothes so that you don't stand out. And so I put on clothes, and I'm wearing like these little booty shorts and like this denim shirt. I'm not wearing a bra because I'm liberated now. And my friend Jane's like, well, let's go to my friend's having a party down the way. And we go to the party, and I'm thinking it's going to be like chill, like people have come from the parade, like other people will be like crunchy and weird and like wearing also weird body paint. And we get to the building, and it's like a giant brand new condo, and her friend comes downstairs to let us in, and I was like, shit, because he's wearing a polo shirt. And we go to the roof deck, and it's like all polo shirts, and there's like one DJ, like it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there's like rosé, you know, people are just like chilling on their condo. And I am like immediately feel very out of place. And I'm going to go over time. I always go over time. I'm sorry, Donna. And so I go down to the condo to go to the bathroom. And someone asks me in the apartment what I do for work. And I tell them. And I hear from around the corner, like, hey girl. And it's this woman named Amanda who works in my office who's like a big player and like wears white pants and like gets pedicures and things that other grown women do who can take care of themselves. And she's like very composed and she's wearing lipstick. You know, she's just like everything that I never am, but like sometimes aspire to be when I'm, you know, feeling insecure. So we have this short conversation and she's like, who do you know here? And I was like, I don't know one, my friend Jane. She's like, mm-hmm. And I go to the bathroom and I have forgotten that I have painted my entire face in like David Bowie, like gold glitter face paint. So anyway, Jane and I basically just get drunk in rosé and go home, and I'm the kind of physical sign of my like singlehood is this square patch of glitter paint on my back that I can't reach myself, but like no one can clear off for me. So I'm just like every day for 5 days I was like, there it is. Still alone. So in retrospect, what I miss Maine almost every day. And one of the reasons I miss Maine is I was not invisible. I was incredibly visible. People in Portland all know each other. Every coffee shop, every bar you go into, someone knows who you are. And I realized actually that all of the new things that I had tried while I lived here, so many things that I'm so proud of, I was not only not prevented from doing because I knew people, but I was better at it and it was more interesting. And none of those people at the parade knew that I had recently been assaulted and that being nude was actually this really cool thing that I was doing, or that I, you know, have generally been uncomfortable with my body for many years. Or that this was like an opportunity for me to learn something new about myself and what my body could and could very obviously not do. And so context, I think, matters in that way, and it felt like kind of a hollow achievement, except now I get to tell you about it now. A few days ago, I obviously am back in Maine. I went to the beach with my friends, and in my newfound physical comfort, I whipped off my shirt to get my tan line right, and my friends were just like, cool, that's it, thank you.